John Boguslawski from TripStack. John, take the stage.
Hello, my name is John Boguslawski. I'm the CEO of TripStack. Very excited to be here today and tell you about our virtual interlining and low-cost carrier products. TripStack's purpose is to provide our OTA clients with access to all low-cost carriers and the best virtual interline connections in one search. Let me take a break here and just describe the difference between traditional and virtual interlining. So traditional interlining, everyone in the room knows this, is the interlining of flights of carriers that have commercial agreements in a single itinerary. An example is United and Lufthansa. Virtual interlining connects flights from carriers that do not have commercial interline agreements into a single itinerary. An example of this would be Alaska with Norwegian. We do this through two products working together in a single API. We call them EFOE and TripBuilder. EFOE means every flight on Earth. So far, TripStack has integrated over 100 low-cost carriers, and we're building the list to 300 airlines in 2019. Our clients are OTAs. We are exclusively B2B, and we do not compete with our clients online. We study the data and find the lowest possible fares and return these via our API. We also offer ancillaries, allowing the OTA to sell seat selection, bags, and other ancillaries in the future. TripBuilder is our virtual interline product. We continuously analyze billions of route combinations and price points to produce unique itineraries at the lowest possible prices. Virtual interlining can offer some of the best fares on roughly 40% of the routes. And in a lot of cases, these are the best itineraries as a combination of duration and price. For the OTA, virtual interlining makes a lot of sense. It means higher margins and more revenue. Traditional tickets generate about 5 to 6% margin for the OTA. With virtual interlining, this number goes up to about 15 to 20%. Virtual interlining is not for everyone. There's potential friction for the customer. The customer has to deal with baggage, rechecking in. So in order to protect the OTA from the unexpected, we offer a self-transfer insurance product protecting the OTA from flight delays and schedule changes. Let's have a look at an example. So Seattle to Paris on November 23rd. So direct flights, there are actually very few of them, just two. And the lowest fare you can find is $1,391 with a duration of 10 hours and 15 minutes. If we look at one-stops, way more options emerge. There are flights through North American cities, as well as flights through European airports as well. We build out 320 options if you consider both traditional and virtual interlining. The lowest fare found is a virtual interline fare, and it's $520, compared with a traditional fare of $692. That is actually a substantial price difference of $170 per passenger. If we look at two stops, the number of options really explodes. There are over 400,000 connections on that date. The lowest fare, again, is a virtual interline connection of $424. So if you look at that, it's $260 cheaper than any one stop and almost $1,000 cheaper than a direct flight. Those are really big differences. As you can see, virtual interlining benefits both the consumer and the OTA. For the consumer, it is more options and lower fares, and for the OTA, it's higher margins and more revenue. How do we accomplish this? First thing we've done is we've built out an airline integration engine that allows us to integrate airlines really quickly in as little as 1 week. We also use virtual credit cards, data science, and smart caching technologies to make sure our integrations are secure, reliable, and fast. There's a significant market opportunity here. In 2017, there were over 1 billion passengers that flew on a low-cost carrier. That's 1 in 3 passengers globally. And each year, roughly 50 new LCCs are launching. With virtual interlining, if the fares could be cheapest on 40% of routes, that's a significant opportunity for the OTA. Our business model is simple. We charge a modest per booking fee, and we do not charge any integration or look-to-book ratios. Our revenues are tied directly to the OTA making flight bookings. We have a great global team with 70 developers that live and breathe airline integrations and virtual interlining. Our strengths are engineering, data science, and operations. We monitor all these integrations 24/7 to make sure we have the highest possible bookability. And we have some large customers already with Flight Network, Flyfar, Sky Tours, LBF Travel, and Alternative Airlines. And 10 additional 10 OTAs are also integrating as we speak. In 2019, we plan to integrate another 200 low-cost carriers and become the go-to API for lowest fares and unique content. We plan to incorporate AI and machine learning to facilitate airline integrations and help our virtual interline algorithms. We're also very keen to establish more partnerships with airlines and GDS providers. We know we have some serious competition in this space, but we really believe that our clients can earn more revenue with each transaction through our technology and business model. Thank you very much.
Thank you, John. Over to the Dragons.
You keep saying OTAs. Do you also include travel management companies as well, or only OTAs?
So far, it's been only OTAs, but I think we would.
Okay, and you keep saying LCCs. Would it also include mainline carriers, or are you restricting yourself only to virtual interlines with LCCs?
No, the best way I can put it is it's wherever there is a price advantage. So we find that a lot of low-cost carriers, there's a lot of pricing opportunities that exist. So if we found those on traditional carriers as well, we would do the same. Really, for us, it's making sure that the consumers have all the best possible fares available on straight airline tickets as well as virtual interline connections.
But so how long is it before the traditional carriers say, not having this, right? Because it's really a threat to the traditional carriers, and then you're left with interlining among LCCs, which is fine, but certainly limits your overall capability to even the example you used of Alaska and Norwegian. I mean, at some point, the cheap seats are coming out of the traditional carriers.
So just so I understand the question, you're saying that the...
If I'm Delta,
yes,
right, or American, I'm not particularly enthused with your model, right? Because you're taking somebody who would have paid me $1,500 to fly from Paris or Seattle to Paris, and now you're putting them, maybe I'm getting one leg, but I'm certainly not getting the $1,500, and I'm putting just overall downward pressure on the pricing environment, which I've already got from Norwegian and Iceland Air and WOW Air, and the list goes on and on.
So I'm going to answer this in a couple ways. One way is we could look at this as we can extend Delta's reach. So there are routes that Delta will never fly. Adding a low-cost carrier on the end of it extends it. This really is about consumers. So if there's a cheaper way to get from point A to point B with 2 connections, we want to expose that. So
too bad, Delta.
sort of too bad.
Until Delta pulls their inventory.
Well, sure, they could have nothing. Yeah, that's an option. Curious question. The competitors you mentioned, companies like Mondi, Fare Compare.
Kiwi.
Right, Kiwi. So they're already aggregating this low-cost carrier, I guess, synthetic interline agreement.
Yes.
How are you differentiating yourself from them?
So first, we're B2B only. We do not compete with our OTA clients online, meaning we don't sell B2C. And second is, the model is we only charge a booking fee. We do not, it's not a model we pay commission to the airline. We return to the OTA the lowest possible price,
right,
and the OTA marks up this and can make much more money with us.
It sounds like Mondi's model too, but I don't know enough about it to suggest any otherwise. Did you have another question, Miriam?
I do not.
Oh, you do not.
And so the long term, again, the same long term question, right? If let's just assume that the players on either side, the supply and distributors, innovate over time and they find new ways to connect, whether it's through blockchain technology that destroys the GDS or whatever fantasy that may come true. But at some point, you have to believe that the modern world is going to slowly close the gap of inefficiency that you live off of.
Right.
So how do you build a moat? How do you sustain your margins so that you have a real company 10 years from now?
In 8 seconds.
I think virtual interlining is much more difficult than people believe. Very few people are doing it. Very few people are doing it well. So I think the moat is technological.
Okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
Thank you, John.
Thanks, John.
Yes.